Artificial intelligence is reshaping just about everything, and that includes how kids are learning in school, or more accurately, how some kids might be learning less. Over the past 2 years, tools like ChatGPT, homework bots, essay generators, and math solvers have become a regular part of student life. Whether it's middle schoolers copying answers or high schoolers using AI to write entire essays, the classroom has changed fast. Some see it as innovation. Others call it an educational crisis. In this video, we're taking a deep dive into how AI is impacting students, schools, and the very idea of learning. We'll explore how kids are using AI, what teachers are seeing, and what science says about learning in the age of automation. Let's start with what's happening right now. AI tools like ChatGPT, Grammarly, and Wolfram Alpha have become go-to solutions for students across the world. And not just occasionally, many students now use them daily. Need a 5-paragraph essay on Shakespeare? Ask ChatGPT. Struggling with algebra? Wolfram Alpha has the step-by-step answer. Need to summarize a 300-page novel the night before class? There's an AI for that too. For some students, these tools are a genuine game changer. They provide support, save time, and help break down complex topics in ways traditional resources might not. But for others, these same tools have become digital shortcuts, a way to skip the struggle and still get a passing grade. The use of AI in education has grown so quickly that it's hard to track. But recent surveys show that over 60% of high school students admit to using AI tools for schoolwork. In college, the numbers are even higher. And here's the key point. Many of these students don't see this as cheating. They see it as just another tool in their academic toolbox. And that's exactly where the concern begins. Because if students no longer need to write, calculate, or even think critically in order to complete their work, what are they actually learning? What skills are they really developing? AI becomes the default answer engine. There's a real risk that students begin to disengage from the learning process itself. They may get the assignment done, but they're not working through the challenge. They're not wrestling with ideas, making mistakes, or learning how to reason their way through problems. They're skipping straight to the outcome. And that's a big deal. Because education isn't just about producing answers. It's about building mental pathways. It's about developing focus, resilience, logic, and creativity. Those things happen through the process of doing, not just by copying the solution. So yes, AI can be helpful, but when it becomes a crutch, when students lean on it to do the thinking for them, the cost may be far greater than we realize. Teachers are seeing the effects. In classrooms around the world, educators are reporting a rise in AI-generated essays, suspiciously similar homework submission, and students struggling to explain the work they turned in. The issue isn't just plagiarism. It's a deeper disconnect from the learning process itself. Some schools have responded by banning ChatGPT and similar tools outright. Others have leaned into AI, using it to teach writing or brainstorming. But the truth is, most schools are still playing catch-up. The pace of AI adoption has far outstripped the policies meant to guide it. And here's where things get complicated. Not all AI use is bad. Some students use these tools to understand complex topics, get feedback on writing, or find new ways to express their ideas. For students with learning disabilities or language barriers, AI can be a powerful equalizer. The problem is there's a fine line between support and dependence. Experts in education and neuroscience warn that over-reliance on AI can weaken foundational skills. When students skip the struggle, they miss the learning. Struggle, after all, is where most real learning happens. That's when the brain forms connections, builds memory, and strengthens problem solving. When AI removes that struggle entirely, students may appear productive, but they're not actually learning. They're just copying, pasting, and moving on. Let's look at writing, for example. Writing isn't just about words on a page. It's a cognitive process. It teaches organization, logic, clarity, and creativity. When a student asks AI to write an essay, they're not just skipping work. They're skipping an opportunity to think for themselves. Over time, that can have real consequences. Weaker communication, reduced attention span, and a limited ability to think independently. The same applies to math. When a student uses an AI-powered calculator that shows steps and solutions, it's easy to follow along. But if they can't replicate that process on a test or in life, it shows that they never really internalized the skill. They didn't master the problem, they bypassed it. And this isn't just a theory. Recent research from education studies in the US, UK, and Asia shows a noticeable decline in basic skill performance among students heavily using AI tools. Teachers report students becoming less confident in their abilities, more passive in class, and less interested in challenging assignments. But let's be clear, this isn't the student's fault. It's not even the AI's fault. It's a system issue. AI arrived in classrooms before schools had a plan. And now, educators are stuck trying to balance the power of new technology with the fundamentals of real learning. There's also the question of fairness. Students who use AI responsibly can gain an edge. But what about students who don't have access to the same tools or guidance? What happens when one student writes an essay with ChatGPT and another spends an hour struggling through it the old-fashioned way? Do they get the same grade? Is that a level playing field? Educators today are facing a challenge unlike anything they've dealt with before. With AI tools capable of writing essays, solving math problems, summarizing books, and even generating artwork in seconds, traditional schoolwork is being disrupted at its core. As a result, schools are being forced to rethink how they assess learning and even what it means to assign homework in the first place. If a student can complete an entire assignment with one prompt to an AI model, what's the point of that assignment? What skills is it really testing? This shift is already happening. Some schools are replacing essays with oral presentations, live in-class projects, or assignments that are difficult for AI to replicate, like personal reflections, real-time problem solving, or portfolio-based assessments. These alternatives are designed to measure authentic understanding, not just the ability to generate a convincing answer, but these efforts only go so far, because outside the classroom, at home, during study hours, or on take-home assignments, students still have access to AI, and many of them will keep using it. Why wouldn't they? It's fast, easy, and often feels like a smarter way to get the same result. That's why the real question isn't how do we stop students from using AI? It's how do we teach them to use it wisely? Some education experts suggest reframing AI not as a threat, but as a learning partner. That means showing students how to use AI to support their thinking, not replace it. They can use it to generate ideas, brainstorm, fact check, or explore different perspectives. But the key is teaching them to do the core thinking themselves, forming arguments, analyzing information, and applying concepts in a way that goes beyond the AI's capabilities. Think of it like a calculator in math class. You can use one to crunch the numbers, but you still need to understand the problem to get the right result. AI should be treated the same way, a helpful tool, but not a replacement for human thought. There's also a growing push for digital literacy education, classes or programs that teach students how to use AI responsibly. That includes understanding what AI can and can't do, how to spot AI-generated misinformation, how to evaluate sources, and even how to write effective prompts. These are real skills, and they'll matter just as much as reading and writing in the years ahead. Because like it or not, AI is here to stay, and banning it outright won't stop students from using it. It will just drive its use underground. The smarter approach is to prepare students to work with AI in ethical, informed, and creative ways. That responsibility doesn't fall on teachers alone. There's also a growing call for parents to step in. In a world where instant answers and constant screen time are the norm, cultivating patience, curiosity, and focus at home is more critical than ever. That could mean setting boundaries on tech use, talking openly about the role of AI, or just asking kids how they're solving problems, and encouraging them to think out loud. Sometimes, the most powerful thing a parent can do is model what it looks like to stay engaged and curious in a world full of shortcuts. Ultimately, preparing students for the future doesn't mean shielding them from AI. It means giving them the tools, the mindset, and the confidence to use it wisely, without losing the core skills that make learning valuable in the first place. So where does this all leave us? AI has changed education, and there's no going back. It can be a tool for equity, access, and empowerment, but it also poses a real risk that students lose the chance to think deeply, struggle productively, and learn meaningfully. This moment in education is a turning point. The question isn't just can students use AI, it's should they and how? That answer isn't simple, and it won't come from one policy or one classroom. It's going to take conversation, experimentation, and a willingness to rethink everything we've taken for granted about how we learn. What do you think? Is AI helping students grow, or is it making them dependent? Are we creating a smarter future, or just a more automated one? Let us know in the comments. This is Tech on the Mind, where tech meets learning, and we ask the questions no one else wants to. See you in the next video.